Oh, thank you all for joining us for our virtual town hall. We've been doing this annually for the last at least 4 or 5 years. Kind of started during COVID, but it's been a really nice way to stay in touch with members or people who are interested in Plan New Hampshire without folks having to like get in their car and come somewhere. So this is what we're going to talk about today. We're going to introduce Plan New Hampshire for anyone who's kind of re-meeting us or coming for the first time. Welcome our new members. We always do a look back at the following year or the previous year and then talk about what's going to be taking place this year. And we also want some time for Q&A and discussion. And we'd love to get some ideas from people who are here about some of the content areas that you'd like to see Plan New Hampshire covering in our educational work. So that's what we have planned. For folks who aren't already intimately aware of Plan New Hampshire, we've been around since 1989, and our mission really is to foster excellence in planning, design, and development of New Hampshire's built environment. We were started and founded by a group of architects who were really looking to have, outside of AIA, a place where multidisciplinary conversations, programs, et cetera, could happen. And so that's really what Plan New Hampshire became, and still is today. So you'll see later when we talk about our membership that we are quite a varied group in terms of, we're not just like one aspect of the community development sector. We're kind of cross-cutting the whole sector, which is something I love about Plan New Hampshire and a lot of our members really love. We are going to do a quick attendee poll to see who's in the room with us. And I'm going to kick it off to Heather Rowan, our one of our committee members from our program committee, to kind of help moderate that. So this question, how many cities call New Hampshire home? So not towns, not unincorporated areas, but there are 13. Don't ask me to name them because I always forget one. I always get to 12 and then can't remember the 13th. So that's the that's the answer to that. But thank you for letting us test this and make sure it's going to work okay.
And it looks like we're on to the next question. Where are you today? So we've got Portsmouth, Dublin, Newmarket, Sunapee, Hudson, Topsham, Manchester, Fitzwilliams. I'd love to know who all these people are connected to where you are. Dade. I haven't even heard of Dade. Avon, Mason, Salem. So we've got quite a variety here. I love this. That's a big goal of ours of Plan New Hampshire, is to make sure we're connecting with everybody across the state and not just the typical hubs of Concord, Manchester, Southern Tier, and the Seacoast. So this is great. We appreciate this for sure.
And when the words get larger, that's like more than one person. So we have, several people.
Are you, or is your organization a Plan New Hampshire member?
Well, we can also use the
So
chat,
50-50.
folks.
That's interesting. Well, maybe we can convince those other 50% that, or 48% that has not joined, to join. And what area of the community development field most aligns with your profession? So definitely more architects on the call, engineering. So a lot of ACE today, AEC, planning, and curious as to other. I'd qualify under other and sales.
Okay, well, thank you guys for entertaining us. There's a little glitch there, but we'll figure it out before we use it again. This was kind of a guinea pig for us, but so for folks, some people might already know this information, but this is our executive board. Some of them are on the call. I know Brian's here. There could be others, but I didn't see everyone that's joined. Brian Garris, Amanda Savage, Kelly DeMori, and Caroline Corvo, and they have been our executive committee for a few years. They're wonderful people if you don't already know them. And this is the rest of our board. So we have a pretty large board, which I think makes sense because we're a very small staff. So without committees and active board members, we really can't do the work that we do. So these are our current board members. Our newest board members who joined in last fall are Sam Durfee from the city of Nashua and Meredith Farrell Goldstein from Orrin Reno. So they've been a great addition, and we're always looking for interested people. So if you're ever interested, let us know. Meet the staff. I'm very excited to say we are going to be 1.5 people, 1.5 FTEs starting in March. So Anna actually hasn't even started yet. I think she's on this call. She probably didn't know I was already throwing her into a slide, but hey, I got to welcome her and introduce everyone to her. So we've often been a team of 1 or 2 people. So I'm very happy that we're going back to 2. She was most recently the economic development director in Hopkinton. And she'll be leaving there and coming to work with us at Plan New Hampshire. So we're really, really excited. If you already know her, you know she is fabulous. And so she's going to be a great addition. And then in terms of our membership, I know I already kind of mentioned this, but our members really are this multidisciplinary community, founded by architects, but we're architects, landscape architects, engineers, construction professionals, planners, municipal staff, municipal volunteers, and nonprofit professionals. We have student members and, folks who aren't even represented by these bullets, which of course can't capture everyone. And that's something we really pride ourselves in. We have over 90 members. These are our platinum and gold members who really go above and beyond to support us every year, whether through their membership or through additional sponsorship, in-kind office space that we have here at JSA, which is where I'm zooming in from. And this year we're adding a new level for silver members, which could be you. So that's something we're looking to add to our membership package. I always like to take one, brief moment to welcome all the new members who joined the previous year. So if a firm joined last year or squeaked in this January, they're on this list. Sometimes they might be rejoining. They could have been very involved, and had a brief hiatus for whatever reason. But we're so happy to have some of these members back. Some are new for the very first time. Most of them are New Hampshire, but you'll see some that have like a Massachusetts base, but work across New England. So that's pretty common too. Here's a few more. So big thank you to these folks for joining our membership, and hopefully they see the value add and continue to be members for years to come. So now I'm going to take a moment to look back at 2024. Many of the people on this call, because I saw the registration, are already pretty involved with us and probably attended some of the things we did. So I'm going to talk a little bit about the programs we had and some of our successes. We've been really pushing growth in our membership. So we were really excited to have 15 new members this past year, which represents like 7% overall increase, because we are smaller. We're not like 1,000-person membership organization, and we don't strive to be that, but we still see growth for us. We've been doing a lot of member spotlights in the past year. Here's an example of one that we did with JH Spain. If you're a member and you're interested in that, please let us know. We're always like reaching out to folks, trying to find volunteers who are interested in a spotlight, but we're happy to be reached too. And then this is a brief breakdown of how our membership looks. It's not perfect because there's different ways you can kind of categorize certain firms and things, but you'll see kind of a pretty even between like design and engineering, planning and municipal representatives kind of just behind that. Construction and abatement companies at 20%. And then we have folks like Bangor Savings Bank or Nathan Wexler, folks who do like insurance, accounting, legal work who are members. And then we have other folks too, like the New Hampshire State Historical Division and folks like that who don't fall into like these other categories. Last year, we added some events, probably the most we could probably do with a two-person organization. So I don't know that we'll be adding events this year, but again, we always want to keep improving and reaching more people. We had a really big increase in attendance, over 50% of an increase, partially due to the added events, but also just due to, I think, more interest in what we're doing. We're trying to keep our content really timely and things that people want and need to learn about. And we've been increasing our networking events as well, which was something some of our members asked for. We more than doubled revenue from event sponsorships, which was really great for us and just wonderful to see that support from both our members as well as organizations that aren't our members. And a couple other things that I'd like to toot our horn is that we do have a Plan New Hampshire Fellowship endowment, and we were able to add a little over $4,000 into that, which is more than we've added in the last several years. So we're really looking to grow that. It's a part of our scholarship program, and so that was something we were really proud of. And last year for New Hampshire Gives, we actually secured some match sponsors, which is not something we'd really done in the past. So that really helped with visibility and with just the success of our campaign last year. So we had TF Moran and James Soames, who's one of our founders, were both match sponsors, as well as Checkmate, who is one of our vendors. Here's some of the events we had last year. Of course, Town Hall. We did an info session about the Charette program because a lot of people had been asking us about it, and sometimes we take for granted that people already know about it. Our spring workshop, which you'll see the flyer here for, was focused on electric vehicles and how municipalities can plan and prepare, why they should plan and prepare for electric vehicles. That was really well attended. It was standing room only. We added extra networking events, and we always have annually, we have a scholarship program that we help administer. And so we were able to award $23,000 to 9 different students. And that's really wonderful. If you come to our Merit Awards event, our awards evening, you'll meet those students and see them as well, because we also honor them at that time. And speaking of Merit Awards, these are the projects we awarded last year. So every year we take nominations for projects that are really just have that have been completed in the last 5 years and are really just showing that excellence in not just design, not just construction, but really community, what community involvement, a value add to the community. So there's a lot of different factors our jury takes into account. So last year, sorry, we awarded the Brick Market, Capital Shopping Center, Mill Girls Stair Improvements Project, the Nashua Soup Kitchen and Shelter, and the Livery. So if you're familiar with those projects, you can kind of see it's quite a variety of the type of projects, from public space to private space to something like the Nashua Soup Kitchen and Shelter, which was a really huge, difficult preservation renovation project by an important nonprofit in Nashua. A few more things we did last year. We added a walking tour in downtown Manchester that was really well attended. And we had several different speakers, tour guides, and we went and saw a variety of mixed use and housing related developments throughout, kind of near the Mill Yard area. And also they were in different phases. So a project that's almost ready to cut the ribbon, a project that's still a parking lot, a project that's half developed. And it was very, very interesting to see what they've got going on, how the city of Manchester is working with developers to get more housing, more mixed use into the community, and how people are financing these things. Because as we know, a big that's a big part of it, a huge part of it, and it can be really tricky. So that was really successful, and we're looking to recreate something like that in Nashua this year, but TBD still. We did a walking tour in the city of Franklin. So we've been visiting every summer. We've been visiting a community who had a charrette in the past and has accomplished a lot, or really implemented a lot of the recommendations our charrette teams made. And so this summer we went to Franklin. It was really wonderful to see the things they were doing. Then we had our fall conference, which we focused on arts, culture, and the built environment. really well attended. Always have our golf classic, and we had two design charrettes in Sunapee and Newmarket. And we actually celebrated our 80th design charrette. So Newmarket was our 80th community design charrette, which is like, yay. Um, Three cheers to our committee, all the volunteers who've all been a part of that program since our first charrette in 1996. And of course, like the communities who actually really take the steps to have a charrette and really open those doors for their community members to be a part of planning and visioning for their own community. The last thing I'll talk about with last year is just our Invest NH partnership. If folks have been kind of following us, they know that we've been a part of the municipal planning and zoning grants since Invest NH was first announced a couple years ago. And so we've continued working with that program. There's been over $6.8 million awarded through that program to 79 different communities to help communities increase housing options. And it can be anything from updating their master plans, studying their needs, their housing needs, to actually drafting and engaging the community around new regulations that they're looking to hopefully pass in their communities that could help. If folks remember, Alyssa Del Tufo was working for us, and that was the program she was focused on. And so she worked with us for 2 years, which was what her position was, to really administer those grants. And so she left us in September, which was sad just because we really loved Alyssa, but she had done a lot of great work with that program and with working with New Hampshire Housing. And we're going to continue working with the program, but it's going to look a little different, which I'll talk about in a minute. But yeah, so that's been really great. When we share the slides, there is a hyperlink to this piece that was just in NHPR about some of the communities and how they're using these grant dollars to tackle housing issues. So I definitely recommend it. It's just a short, like 8 or 9 minute piece. Oh, there you go, 7 minutes. Okay, 7 minute piece featuring New Hampshire housing, and it's a nice little like brief encapsulation of the program. So I want to kick it off for a few moments, give 5, 10 minutes to Deb Kaplan. So our board of directors, one of the big things we did last year was we decided it was time to do some strategic planning. So starting last February, we were like doing outreach to different consultants, outreach to other small organizations, 2-person organizations, because, strategic planning, we can strategically plan all day, but it's got to be the right size for the organization. And so we had heard some wonderful things about Deb from our friends at ABC. And she just ended up being the right consultant for us. And I thought it would be a great time to share with any of our members, but also people who are interested in us, just that our board is taking these steps to do some strategic planning and what that kind of looks like. So, Deb, are you able to unmute and take over for a little bit? And I'll
Yes,
move your slides. If I go forward too
fantastic.
fast, just let me know.
Just stay put right where you are. Just let's talk about for a minute. When people say we have a strategic plan, yay, and really what it comes down to is it's called doing things. And a person who said that, for many of you may remember the founder of Southwest Airlines. It was Herb Keller, and that's what he'd say. It's doing things. So let's advance the slide and you'll see what the group did. In fact, it started with a very well thought out process. And the work that was involved, it's really about, well, let's be sure that we're listening. So it becomes a listening session. So we did some planning to plan through these 4 phases, which was all about the pre-retreat, listening to people. We did some surveys. I'll just give you the breakdown in a minute. Then we did some sharing among the board and just figure out, all right, what do we really need to prepare for, so that when we have the retreat, it's going to be so focused. So we actually did a questionnaire that gathered a lot of inputs, which helped the retreat be Plan New Hampshire's retreat, not the facilitator's retreat, to ensure that it resonated and got what we need to get done. So I'm excited about that and what the group did. And then finally, there's phase 4, where there's a readout, your report, which has been received by Plan New Hampshire, and there's still a lot of work to do. So we're going to give a high level look at what the group accomplished. And we know that for the pre-work, there are 17 board members that actually completed this in-depth questionnaire, truly about insights, questions around what they thought was going well and priorities and the compelling reasons to even be on the board, the purpose of the organization. And it was nice because not everyone thinks the same way. So we're able to bring those inputs forward. Additionally, I had some interviews. I interviewed 8 board members to be sure that what I was seeing in the questionnaire, because I administered it, all content came to me, that I could ask some questions to see if there are any other themes that I wouldn't want to miss. And there was also the opportunity for board members to interview members of Plan New Hampshire. And so we call them engagement interviews. In fact, that link remains open. And if you haven't been interviewed, I'm sure just contact one of the board members and the conversation will be had. Tiffany, isn't that true? Board members,
Yes.
North, right? I mean, absolutely. So that will always be open. But we learned so much. It was meaningful, and we'll go over those themes. So let's look at the next slide. What we found for the engagement interview, we asked the members a lot of questions also. In interview form, most of those were live conversations. They didn't really just fill in a form, but the board members actually had the form to fill out so we could capture the themes. And when we asked them, what are your expectations of Plan New Hampshire? You remember, you're investing in it. And this is what they said, charrettes, business development opportunities, networking, community engagement, and events. So we said, okay, that's great. Why not follow up and ask, well, how are we doing? Are we meeting your expectations? And really, the feedback was quite favorable. No surprise, just very impressive. That the tone of the responses, if I even jump down to the second where it says what Plan New Hampshire is doing well, you see charrettes, where it says meaningful opportunities to collaborate and build community. That theme, which is really one of the driving principles of Plan New Hampshire, is just so nice to hear that come through. So the reason why we ask questions where maybe we'd even get obvious answers, it serves the purpose of validating the board and Tiffany and the committees to say we're on the right track. Makes sense to everyone? So sometimes asking the obvious question is the way to go. So we're doing a lot of things well. The boasting of the merit awards and scholarships, Tiffany, that was so powerful. That came through as what the organization's doing really well. So you can see, I won't read it to you, but that third element where it says Plan New Hampshire is a strong organization with an opportunity to grow. How many of you have ever answered that question? If you flew on a certain airline or you have a shopping experience and they say, how likely would you be to recommend this service or this entity to a friend or colleague? Everyone knows that question? That is the loyalty effect net promoter score question. So when I work with clients, we just move through this. We want to say, well, how do people feel? So the net promoter score is 47.7. You might be thinking, well, out of what? It's always out of 100. And you might be thinking, man, that's really low. It's not that low. In fact, it's quite good. When we think of, let me just share with you how it's calculated. The net promoter score is a scale from 1 to 10. And the promoters, like every time you say yes, if you give it a 9 or a 10, you've given that entity a promotion in terms of I'm going to be a champion. I'm going to promote them. If you answer 1 through 6, that is called a detractor. If you answer 7 and 8, which, not bad, 8, not bad, those are passives. So anyone who answered an 8 was not counted in the score. So it's the promoters minus the detractors is where we get the score. So in the construction related, I mean, if you're all GC companies, but this is a member organization, this is still really quite good. You get into, might have more like 35 in the construction industry for outright construction work when they are asking all their customers. But for this entity, 47.7 and growing. And so the board thought, wow, this is great. We have some wonderful opportunities to take it to the next level. And that is why we did this work. This work was not about saving anything that was flailing. It was all about look at how much this organization has done leading up to through the pandemic. Now post, what do we do to get next level? So some of the feedback on areas to improve, but follow through with charrettes. So have it, there's this 2-day entity. Well, what more can we do? So while definitive decisions are still yet to be made, the board really took these insights and say, okay, we can do a little bit more, diversify the topics, the events, attract more, be sure we're meeting the needs of our members. So this is a really nice summary of what we picked up from the member engagement survey questionnaire or interview. Let's go to the next slide. So when we took all those inputs and we met from, I think we met from 9 to 3 or 4 p.m. North, if you can confirm it, I can't remember what that was. It was a full day. And we had a working lunch. And what the group did was they updated the vision. Plan New Hampshire is a modest updated vision. I believe, yep, that's going to be coming up soon. Nothing, not like a 180 turnaround from what it was, just more refined. So you can read that here. Recognized statewide partner for helping communities realize their vision and vibrancy. A resource and convener. That word, when the board got together, that resonated so much with everyone. Just to be the convener for people and organizations who are passionate about the built environment. So it's not about being everything to everyone, but to really be somewhat of a hub, because we knew that there's still a lot of carrying the torch and promotion for more of New Hampshire to know exactly what Plan New Hampshire is. I am going to give a little plug though. Just last week, I was moderating for an organization called New Hampshire Tech Alliance. I moderate the Ascending Leaders program there. And we had somebody from business development from the state, Chase Hagerman. I'll get the name. And I asked him, I said, are you familiar with Plan New Hampshire? And he said, yes. So I was like, oh, it was just really exciting. So understanding that having a convener to bring people together, municipalities, government, whatnot, could go a long way. So we can go back. Let's go back to the slides that where we have more of the 5 circles. Tiffany, there we go. So the updated vision. In the chat, if you would just say, if you'd say, or a reaction, a thumbs up, thumbs up. What's your reaction to that vision? Doesn't it make sense? Just let us know you love it. The clarify 3 focused areas. We worked on that. The group we took the focus areas from the survey and the questionnaire, but the group really worked at it. And to just soundboard each other to say, what do we really need to focus on? I don't think they'd be surprised that they're quite aligned with the 3 initiatives around Plan New Hampshire's existence. When you see even on the websites. So they identified 3 initiatives for 25 and 26. We're not going to share what those are yet because there's still a lot of refining to do, but they have a lot to do with increasing revenue, and have a lot to do with engaging members, and they have a lot to do with building connections with municipalities and the state, which is really exciting. And so we've identified initiative owners, as well as rough timelines as to when the groups might need to start planning to implement. So that's why we say we have a strategic plan. That's great. It's called strategic doing, or doing things. And then finally, the board got aligned to the next level, to go to the next level. And the board may have even discovered a new way of working together, way to get through a lot of content quickly. And at the end of the day, I think it was certainly a brain teaser. We had a lot of work going on, but it flew by. And so that's what the group accomplished. And of course, you just saw the vision. I think, Tiffany, that last slide, is that the one that has a couple of quotes?
The quotes aren't on the slide.
Oh, I'm leaving something else. Okay, so through the survey and then the questionnaires, the member engagement interviews, people are saying this organization is great, provides me with opportunities. One of the questions was, can you think of one opportunity that was presented by Plan New Hampshire that you went to? Could have been an event or something that really made a difference for you. And people were saying business deals, new contracts, expanding their network, learning better people in the community with whom I can collaborate with and do some co-working together. So it was really quite positive. So the convener actually came through in a lot of the responses from the members and the board members. So it was a meaty experience. And now the group, the board, the organization is staged to go to the next level. And I think
Thank
that's all
you,
I've got
Deb.
for you.
Yeah,
Sure,
thank you
you
so
bet.
much. Yeah, I kind of think of our town hall a little bit as a state of the state, for Plan New Hampshire. So while this is a very like internal process, this seemed like a perfect opportunity to share a little bit about what we've been doing on the back end of things. So I appreciate working with you, Deb, and appreciate you presenting today. So 2025, we're already there. It's already the end of February. I don't know how that happens so quickly, but every year it feels like that happens. We're still going to be working with Invest NH. We have extended our contract through 2026 through New Hampshire Housing, but we're kind of modifying our role. So when Alyssa was with us, she was doing a lot of grants administration. We're now they've taken the administration in-house, which is a much better fit for a program that we did not know would continue and has now received, millions more dollars. And so our role is really going to be on the educational side of things. And where kind of our sweet spot is. So we'll be participating in Housing Academy, which supports the communities and learning more, educating themselves around what they can be doing in their community. We'll be helping to compile case study information. So if you didn't see this report, there's an image right here. It just came out in January from some of the initial grantees, which started 2 years ago. So there's maybe like 12 or 14, I can't recall exactly, communities that are featured in here. And it's a really great just snapshot of what different communities are doing and what success can look like in different places. Well, we'll be helping to capture more of that information as more grantees continue to finish their work. And we'll also be supporting HOP grantees through community design charrettes. So we've committed to dedicating 6 of our charrettes over the next 3 years to communities who, of course, are interested and ready and want to have a charrette, but also were a HOP grantee and want to bring in the charrette process to help kind of move their housing goals along. So we've done initial interest, just asking about interest, and there's about 14 communities who are interested in that. We're going to be meeting with them soon to talk about that program more to see, who is it a really good fit for at this time. Sometimes people are interested and it's just not the right time for their community. So we'll see where that goes. But we're really excited to continue working with the program and in many ways be kind of more in our lane, if you will. In terms of the charrette program, and there's a map showing all the charrettes we've done since 1996. We will be in Manchester this April. We're very excited about that. And then we have some pending applications and conversations we've been having with Nashua and the town of Fremont. So TBD on those. But that could possibly be, we could possibly be in Nashua in the spring and possibly be in Fremont in the fall. Fremont specifically is applying for the AARP Community Challenge Grant. And if that's not something you're aware of, it is something you should look into if you're a community representative, because it can help fund a lot of awesome things for your community. And they're looking to hopefully be awarded that in order to bring the charrette to their community. So we will see how that goes. Our next event is in March 25th. We're going to have another networking event. We're usually at a member's office space or location, but we're actually going to be at the Revo Casino and Social House in Dover this time, which is very different for us, but we're pretty excited. Some of the people involved in that project are members, like Ekman. Fuss and O'Neill's been working with Revo on some other projects. And so we're pretty excited to go there and host everyone in a different environment. So hopefully you can join us. We're really grateful to our sponsors and we're looking forward to it. And I don't expect you to read all of this right now, and I'm not going to read all of this right now, but this is our program calendar. You'll have the slides after. It's also on our website for 2025. So we do our best to get everything as scheduled out as we can. You'll notice some TBDs either around locations or sometimes content. So there's always some things we're still trying to figure out, but this definitely gives us like guideposts moving forward throughout the year. And on that note, Heather, are you still here with us?
I am. So we need to rank in following in terms of your preferred format of learning. So this is whether you like virtual, whether you like in person, the timing of events, like how long you can commit to an event. The walking tours, is that something that if you haven't attended, would you consider attending? This is going to give us an direction as to how to proceed with our programming moving forward. We're always looking for input. So if you ever have a random idea one day, give Tiffany or I a call. But for now, we're going to use the polls just to get some ideas. We've got 3 responses so far.
And I know Heather said this is, really learning formats, because we know some people, some firms or organizations love the networking events or, our awards evening. And so this is really more about, when we're
education.
doing content and how people prefer to interact.
Interesting. Okay. I did not vote, but my vote would be the walking tours. I really enjoy those. You get to interact with a lot of different people. You're moving. Get to see a lot of interesting things. Well, thank you, everybody. This is extremely helpful. Tiffany, I assume this will be saved and we can resource this.
Yes.
Okay, I don't need to be taking pictures with my phone or
No.
screenshotting.
How does that work if the top one is second?
Yeah.
David, I don't know. I was wondering that too, but I was just hoping everyone was glazing over. No, just kidding. I don't know. I'll have to look on the back end of Poll Everywhere and see. Since everyone's ranking, it might be like a choice ranking kind of way that it's, more people could have had that second than first. I don't know.
I will say it's nice to see the response on the fall conference with the half day. We have definitely gotten a lot of positive response out of that. So we will definitely be continuing with the half day event versus a full day. I think it's more manageable with people's schedules. So this one is kind of a big question. What type of content areas would you like to see that we move forward with on subject matter? This is always the deer in headlights factor for the program committee when we say, okay, well, we have to come up with a workshop subject or a fall conference subject. We try really hard to do things differently than other organizations. Like I promise we will not be doing anything on housing. That is, there's been enough talk about that. There's still a lot going on with that, but our events are not going to be on education of housing subjects this year. So we are really interested in as much feedback as we can, and please don't use just this opportunity to respond. Again, reach out to Tiffany, David, anybody on the Plain New Hampshire board. If you ever have ideas of what you'd like to learn about, we want to provide the right information to you. And we're only as good as the information we get. So if you don't tell us what it is, we're going to come up with our own crazy ideas. Retaining young people. I think that's an important one in this state for sure. Community development, inclusivity, adaptive reuse. That's a good one. We haven't actually ever really addressed that specifically. Stormwater management. I like the allied professionals factor. Climate resiliency, which is a challenge these days for sure. Rural communities, that would be a good one. We have a lot of that we do not focus on and should. This is so helpful. Universal design, adaptive reuse. I see a few common threads here with some of these. Passive home. One thing we have not dove into, we really focus more, I feel like, on the commercial side of things versus residential. So it would be, I think it might be a good idea at some point to put a little more of a residential twist to one of our events, one of our educational gatherings. Well, these are great ideas, and I thank everybody that contributed to this. This is really important to the program committee, and this allows us to be able to provide content that you want. So thank you.
Yeah, and if anyone feels, this is no pressure, but it's a great time. If you want to elaborate, or if maybe there was something you felt like was like way too many words to type into here, please feel free to unmute. And this is really the end of our presentation. And so it's a great time for
So I
any
think
kind of discussion.
one thing, and this may be one of those super hot potatoes that I think might be worth exploring anyway, but we talk a lot about, being prepared in our cities and towns for climate change. There's also a preparation, what are the other threats that are facing us? Right now, there are threats to inclusion, diversity, equity, and inclusion. That I'm not even allowed to say climate change or what are the other? It was climate change and something else. The Trump administration instructed the Department of whatever. Anyway, that they're words that you're not allowed to use, and sort of getting in this sort of environment of censorship, personal liberties and community liberties. There are responses in how you plan to address these threats. So that's a pretty big idea. It may be one that gets not as many participants because of its, the sensitivity, but I think it's worth it to be taking a stand when it comes to preparation in our communities.
I appreciate you bringing that up, North. And during our discussions about the workshop potential and the fall conference potential, we have definitely talked about the poking the bear factor on a political level. And we don't want to go too far with it. We want to try to stay as neutral as we can, but we're not afraid to poke that bear a little bit. So thank you for bringing
Yeah, and
that
it's, we're in an environment where political positions are taken on things that shouldn't be. Should the environment be political?
Right.
No. Should the fact that people who are in wheelchairs have access to spaces be political? No.
Right.
So there's things that I think we have to sort of assess the proper place for. This is a big discussion, but I think it's, if we're talking about communities and strengthening our communities and being prepared for a variety of different threats, that these are things that we should be maybe including in our discussions.
Not to
And I'll
add
get
more.
off my high horse.
Oh no, this is great. This is great. And not to add to the program committee's tasks this year, but this would be a great subject for a roundtable format. Just a place to gather where people can just chat and discuss and have really true raw conversation. I think it's needed. Would anybody else like to contribute to any thoughts they've had about subject matter, to anything they typed into the chat, into any of the polls? That's part of the town halls. We want to be able to have this interaction with you. So feel free to speak up. Don't be shy.
I want to know who H. Peck is. I'm running the Manchester Charrette, and
Oh.
I don't recognize the handle.
It's me, North. I'm from Connecticut. I'm happy to come and help.
Oh, great.
I'll get in touch.
What's your background?
Planner for 30 years. Been through
Okay.
a number
Yeah.
of really successful charrettes. The last charrette we had 600 people.
Wow.
It was
Cool.
tremendous success, and I'm a big fan of the charrette process and form-based code.
Excellent. So, yeah, if you can connect through to Tiffany, and
Yeah.
Tiffany can get to me, that's awesome. Thank
Sure.
you.
Yeah, anytime someone's interested in volunteering to be a part of a charrette team, please don't be shy. And even if it's not a specific charrette, but you're just interested in general, we have on our website, under the charrette page, there's an interest form. So you can just say like, I'm just interested in the future, you know, and here's who I am. I'm a landscape architect or whatever skill set you might bring to the team. And then we kind of keep a running list of folks who've like proactively shown interest. And so that's also available for people who could be interested in the future, but maybe not this April. And I appreciate Vanessa's comment too about resisting being used as pawns in the culture war. You know, we don't want to get too into the murkiness, but yeah, I think all the things North and Heather and Vanessa said, it's like New Hampshire communities. First of all, it's already a little more diverse than people even think, you know, and we need to be um, helping communities to be their best selves. I feel like that's a lot of what Plan New Hampshire tries to do. So whether that's now or future, it is very important that things like accessibility, things like cultural awareness, you know, those things are really important for our communities to thrive, even if some people are resistant. So I think it's a good question, like how can Plan New Hampshire maybe help address some of these things?
It's about communities and communication and engagement and getting people to think.
Mhm.
So it's all good.
So it's 12:57. Any other burning questions or comments anyone wants to unmute or type in the chat? I've already put Anna's email here, which is hilarious because she doesn't even start till March, but you know, again, very excited that she's joining the team. And I want to thank our sponsors for this event, and just sponsors in general really help support us throughout the year. So today, Milestone and Turner Group and Deb Kaplan and Bob White, who's on our board and also a landscape architect, have all stepped up to support this event, which just helps support our mission. And so I really appreciate them stepping up on this. And it's not always as exciting to support a virtual event, so I appreciate them seeing through that. Well, thank you all for joining us today. This will be put onto our website if you wanted to share it with anyone. If you have any other questions about Plan New Hampshire or what we have going on in 2025 or have any ideas, please do not be shy to call me or email me because we really try to just have like an open door policy on that. So thank you all so much.
Thanks, everybody. Appreciate you showing up and hearing all this.